Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt
And I'm
Roast.
Jessica Bun Bun.
Welcome to our new edition of Big Brother 28 live feed spoilers. This is the Angela's birthday edition.
Hmm.
Happy birthday, Angela. I'm sure you're watching this video, and
Yep.
happy Diamond Power of Veto Day here as well.
Okay, before we get too far into this, I just want to say, sorry, this is going to be a bit of a shorter video.
Mhm,
My son Felix, very sick. He's went to preschool for the first time last week.
mhm.
He came home and he was not feeling that great. Worse on Saturday, really bad yesterday, and horrible today.
Mhm.
So it's going to be a bit of a shorter video so that I can get down to help out my husband with Felix because yeah, he's not doing very well. He's got really bad fever.
Yeah, thank you guys for understanding.
So yeah, our schedule for the rest of the week might be a little bit wonky. It all sort of depends on how Felix is doing. So thanks guys for understanding.
Thank you guys. That we really do appreciate that. And yeah, in this video, we are going to talk a lot about the Diamond Power of Veto and what happened today because I think it turned out a lot differently than a lot of people were expecting. I
Mhm.
think especially when it comes to how some of the house guests reacted to it.
We also are going to be talking about Drew, my guy Drew, for all the Druthers in the crib out there. We're going to be like really finally talking about where his allegiance is because there's been a lot of frustration online. That everybody thinks that he's aligned with all the icons. He is riding to the end. The issue is that Drew has not done any real like cam talk to anybody about where he's really landing.
Mm.
And because he has been playing at all sides of the house and talking to everybody, it's been really hard for us to figure it out. But he's finally told us what his game has been this whole time and where he is right now.
Yeah, thank you, Drew, very much for this. Really coming in the clutch, like mere minutes before we hopped on here to
Right.
record.
Yeah.
But all right, well, before we talk any further here, be sure to join our YouTube memberships because we do have a new video over there
Mhm.
that is all about Julie Chen Moonves. Are you interfering with the game, in particular when it comes to what you did on this past show when it comes to Mallory and Barrett,
Mhm.
throwing that word showmance around, knowing the ramifications of that? It's a really fun discussion.
And we have brand new Big Brother videos for our YouTube memberships and our Patreon every single week.
Mhm.
And it really helps us out here at the channel by you joining those memberships. So thank you so much to everyone who has.
Thank you guys. That is so very appreciated. All right. Veto ceremony.
Mhm.
Let's go. It actually happened. Yash decides not to use the power of veto. He entertained the idea all weekend, decided against it. Devins then, once that part of the veto ceremony is complete, basically comes in off the top rope. No, we're not done yet. Uses the diamond power of veto.
Yep.
D taken off the block. Camus is now up there alongside Angela and Haley.
Now, Devins didn't end up getting the power off of D. D still has her 5,000. And I was like, man, that would have been such a great move if he had been able to take that power off of her as well. I know
Mhm.
there's a lot of people out there were like, oh, Devins, why would you use this power on her? Because it's actually for him as well. We've seen so many times in Big Brother US, Canada, all around, that if you start losing your allies, people that vote with you, it very quickly descends. And we're actually watching that right now with the red corner. We watched Chuck go. Now we've got Haley and Kami both on the block. It just descends where you kind of lose everybody. If he ends up losing D, who is someone that he has been an ally with, number ones to roll to the end of the game, she's a huge shield for him. She's the winner of Survivor. It really helps him to not be the biggest target in the house.
Mhm.
I was just like, this is the move. You want to take her down. You got to keep your votes where you can keep your votes.
Yeah.
But if he could have taken that power off of her as well to actually be given that 5,000, I was like, man, that's a move because now they would both not have any powers. Him going forward as part of his resume, he can be like, yeah, I used that diamond power on her and I took her power at the same time, but it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, I actually kind of low-key wonder, would it have been good for both of them moving forward? Devins gets the resume move. He gets to have that on him at the end of the game, which I think, like you said, is very useful. And then they can both kind of look at everything as, all right, it's a reset. we're just like all of you now. We don't have any powers. I mean, yeah, sure, there's another time capsule vote coming and all that, but they're not going to get it. And
No,
so it would have been an interesting kind of reset. And that's why I am going to be curious. I know Dee's powers not that great. We'll talk more about it later, but like whether or not
but power's power.
power is power, and you don't know as the game goes along, someone may just decide they really need that $5,000
Right.
for whatever reason. Just
Yep.
because Yash said no doesn't mean that like everybody is going to say no. But I will also say that I'm very surprised that there are as many people coming at Devins for this move as well, just from
Mhm.
like the Kamu point of view. Like you laid out everything really, really great when it comes to D and why you
Oh,
need to
thank you.
keep D. But it's also just like Kamu is somebody who has won a lot of competitions so
Yes.
far this season. He's also shown he's really, really good strategically. He is very level headed in a lot of discussions. He can be very, very convincing. And
And he's not working with you anymore.
yeah, and like, beyond all of this, when you sort of project towards the future here, how many more opportunities are you going to have to make this happen? Because
Yep.
you look at the state of the crossovers right now, where you have Devins, you have D, who did win the first head of household, but hasn't exactly been on a big winning streak since then.
Yep.
Angela hasn't won really anything so far this season, didn't
Mhm.
even win the time capsule. You have Drew, who, yes, he did win a blockbuster, but he hasn't won a lot else. And then you have Barrett, who just finishes in second place in everything. So it's
Yeah.
just like Devins, he can't rely on his allies to necessarily win competitions and get everybody in a place where you can get Kamu out of the game. Like, you don't know when your last chance is going to be, especially when Kamu's side of the house. They've won the last two head of households. It's better
Yep.
to make a move too early than to never be able to make the move at all.
This is the move. He needs to take this shot and he needs to hope that he hits.
Yeah, and it's all gonna come down to the blockbuster now,
Right.
right? Like you've got Angela in there, you've got Haley, and I know we're all gonna discount Angela, but at the same time, some of these blockbusters, they can be puzzles. They're
Yep.
not necessarily like really, really physical. The comedy in all of this, though, comes down to Devins and D. They had been practicing for like 24 hours on, okay, let's try to make this a big, big TV moment. Let's just try to deliver the fireworks. We want people to be fighting on
Yep.
the other side of this. Beats came back, and it was just the wettest of farts. It
Yeah.
was just like,
Yeah, it was fine. Everybody was fine with it. I think that part of it just is that all the house guests know that there are powers and punishments coming in.
yes.
They've seen who's had the punishments, and then there's been a couple of weeks where it's like, what's happening here? So people are starting to find out about D's, but they know that there's another one that's floating around out there at some point. And of course, Devins is the person who's going to have it. It's not Angela.
Yeah.
They know that D's got the 5,000, so it's Devins.
Well, that's the thing. It's very hard to put people's jaws on the ground when, yeah, they didn't know it was necessarily Diamond Power of Veto,
No.
but they've all guessed that Devins may have something. Like, this is not something anyone was just like completely clueless about. And I also kind of think at the same time here, nobody wants to go completely haywire after a ceremony like this. Maybe they would pre-blockbuster, but it's just like there's a situation where, for example, Kamu's not even eligible to be voted out this week. And so it's like, do you really want to go hard at Kamu and air out all of the dirty laundry just for him to win Blockbuster, win the next HOH, and then just like put you in really, really big danger after the fact?
Speaking of the power, there is one power left, and there's been a big push for everyone to go and vote for Drew. So let's try to do that because, things are really changing of where Drew is sitting in this game. Because for a long time, we all really felt like, he was only with the icons. He's bringing back information. He's really trying to prove his loyalty to them. But from this cam talk, it seems like that's not necessarily true. He is loyal to Devins,
Mm,
who seemingly Devins is back on board with Drew because he's taught him how to get that power. So if
yes.
he actually gets in there, he's got the keys of the kingdom to be able to actually land whatever the power is.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's something that seemingly Mallory and Melody did not pick up on, which is just like the
Yeah.
strange press your luck style pattern that goes on in there. And yeah, he clearly wants Drew to win it at this point. Like, I'm always going to be worried about Devins as a possible blind spot for Drew just because We've heard Rick talk about Drew, be worried about Drew so many times.
And he should be to some degree. I mean, it does seem like Drew really does want to continue to work with Devins
Mhm.
and Angela to some degree, but not really D. He's told us through
Yeah.
his talk with the cameras that his allegiance is actually to FAP. So if that's true, Drew, I'd really like to see you voting with them and working with them. And I think that the thing is because these two alliances have come together now, he'll be able to vote with them because they're all going to be voting together. He's really in such a beautiful spot in this house where people really trust him. He has these two alliances that want to continue working with him. He's balanced it in a way that he's actually got them working together. And he's told us, that he's been kind of playing like this silly young guy, doesn't really know what's going on. He's just here to have a fun time. And he's been throwing a lot of comms, but it seems like that's not going to be the case going forward.
Yeah, it actually does feel. I was very impressed by this camp talk, if I'm being fully honest. Like, I always have liked our Temecula guy here, Drew, but it's just at the same time, I've always worried, is he too loyal to the icons? Does he tell too much information to all these other people? But it seems like he is extremely self-aware of his own strengths, his own weaknesses within the game. We're seeing a lot of adaptability from him and wanting to be loyal to the FAP group. And
Yeah, he has said that he knows that he's at the bottom of the crossovers.
yeah, and like that's really, really important. Like he also said that he would keep Melody over Barrett, which I think is very important when it sort of
Yep.
shows. All right, so that whole final two with you and Barrett, like how seriously should we really take that? Probably not that seriously, which is good because Barrett has thrown you under the bus to D a million times as well.
Yeah, that final two had turned into a big nothing burger. But over here with Drew and Melody, this is turning into a whole lot of something.
It's definitely, I think, an interesting story to watch now because if Drew is as self-aware as he's coming across now in that camera talk, like it feels like he knows that he can't be with the entire crossovers forever. There's going to
No.
be a turning point, but he also knows I need to find a way to make this work right now because I need to get the numbers to where they are so that I can eventually try to make some sort of move. So we do have this larger 7-person group, which has been coined the Mosh Pit. They let Mallory come up with the Mosh Pit name, and I'm just sitting, what is this, like 2002? We're going to Edgefest here to watch a rock show?
I was gonna say, if I'm Devin and Angela, I'm like, okay, sure. Like, this doesn't really encompass everybody that's in this group.
No, I can't. Maybe one person in this group would actually go to a real life mosh. Okay, the Alliance name is not great, but it's just like, this is the Alliance.
Have you been in a mosh pit?
Okay, small story time. I did
Okay.
go to Edgefest in 2006 with my friend from high school. The Killers were there. It was one of my favorite bands at the time. Still loved them. I did go into the mosh pit section when they were performing, but it was cold. So a lot of people, this is Texas, they chickened out and they left. So it was not really mosh pitty. Only other thing I remember is I had a really, really bad sunburn. Wear
That
your
sounds
sunscreen.
terrible.
It was-
Okay, I had a terrible experience in a mosh pit too. I was at the Nets Atomic Dustbin concert in the mosh pit. I used to have my whole ear pierced all the way around. I had 2 earrings ripped out.
Okay, that's way worse than just being.
Such a good concert though. Oh my God.
And here I am being like, it's so cold in Texas, and I'm just getting sunburned.
Hey, you got a sunburn. That sucks.
It got better in like a day or so. But no, this alliance and trying to keep this together, it's going to be fascinating, especially just with where we are right now with this eviction scenario. So if Camus remains on the block, I think it's pretty clear he's going to be evicted. There is this weird narrative going on online that's like, oh, does Camus think he's safe? And I don't think that's the case. I think
No.
he's just very calm, cool, and collected. Like, this is a fighter. He knows not to really show a lot of weakness. And this is why he is scary as a player. He can sit down and talk with D right after the fact and try to schmooze and try to just like make it seem like it's all a game and everything is just okay.
Absolutely, Camus a very dangerous player. You cannot let him stay in the game. He can win this game if you let him get any further than this. Like
Yes.
truly, I feel like they only have, this week, next week, and possibly next week to get him out. And I think if they do not get him out, he's going to the end.
Yeah, he can easily go on a competition run, especially if he has this alliance with Yash and they can just sort of go back and forth win competitions. Yash just won 2 in this past week alone.
Yeah, and he does not need to just win his way to the end. We've seen the past 2 weeks that he is able to schmooze people, move, adapt, get people on his side. Like, he is a double threat in that way. He can win a lot of stuff, but socially he is bringing a lot of people in, except maybe Melody, and I totally understand Melody. Oh my goodness.
So this is the real thing. This is Kamu's by far biggest weakness in the game. Is that like right now he would need the support of Mallory and Melody in order to pull something off here. And it's just like Mallory was put on the block. And this is one of Mallory's weaknesses, that she's very inflexible in the game. If you nominate her or you look at her, it's the same thing with Dee. It's just like she has a very hard time wanting to ever work with you.
Right.
And Melody, he has just said things to her that make her really, really uncomfortable. Like, I'm just going to give one example that's been pretty well documented, which is that Melody has talked about not wanting to have kids. And he has responded by basically saying, oh, I can't wait until you get pregnant. I can't wait to sort of show how wrong you are in thinking that way.
Yeah, which is just so wrong for so many reasons. But just at a base level, nobody wants to be told what they think and what they feel by anybody, let alone somebody that Melody has maybe had like 5 conversations in this house with. She's not friends with him. She's not working with him. She barely really talks to him. So to have him come in and be like, I know you better than you know you. It's just like, who are you? Like, get out of here.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I think you can work with people temporarily who you don't agree with on certain things, but if you're just like fundamentally, I don't want to be around this person, that's a really, really hard thing to get past, especially when Kamu does not benefit Melody's game. You know, he doesn't benefit anyone in FAP. Like, Drew has also wanted him out for a while. So it just feels like Kamu, he's going, yes, there is a good chance he can win the blockbuster.
Yes.
That is why this move is in that way a risk. Where things get a little bit interesting, though, is I think there's this assumption because of the mosh pit that Angela is going to be safe no matter what. But Melody and Mallory talked just a couple of hours ago that they would seriously consider getting rid of Angela if it is Angela and Haley in there. So it's like, that's not necessarily set in stone here.
It's not, but there's still a lot of time. And I do feel like Drew and Barrett will be able to pull them. I do. They're all very, very close. And I think there's a lot of argument for keeping Angela because she hasn't won anything this season. She is a vote that's with them at this point. Why are you going to allow somebody from the other side of the house to keep a vote and you're going to get rid of one of your own votes right now? It doesn't make any sense. You don't know who's going to be the next HOH. And if it's not your side, then you're going to lose another vote next week.
Well, and this is the other thing I believe about Mallory and Melody in particular, is it's just that they want to do what they can here to be on board, obviously, with the rest of FAP. And I do think they would probably get them on board. They're just also being very, very careful because they still have some connections on that other side. They still have people like Taylor, like Yash, they could theoretically work with. And I think they don't want to burn all of that. They just want Kamu out. And so there's already these discussions. It's like, okay, if Kamu does go this week, do we tell Yash like right beforehand? We don't want to completely blindside him.
Right.
We want to keep our options open because, as we said, Mallory is not going to let it go when it comes to Dee. I do not think Mallory wants to go super far in this game with Dee whatsoever.
I don't think anybody really wants to go to the end with Dee or go far in the game with Dee. She's the winner of Survivor. I don't want to sit at the end with her.
Yeah. Now, in general, the biggest thing I think to expect over the next couple of days is just a lot of lying because there's a lot of talk about, okay, do we just lie to Kamu, make him think that he's okay. The numbers are going to be on his side. Like, is this actually going to mist him into not trying as hard in the block? Like, Kamu's going to try hard in the blockbuster, guy. This is not going to do anything.
No.
The only other funny thing is watching people lie to each other right now about whether or not Dee has a power and what that power is. Because like individual people know from various conversations, but individual people also do not know that Dee has told them or that somebody else has told them. So they're just like, do you think Dee has a power? No, I don't know what it is. It's just really, really funny. It's just sort of, it's like a Bizarro Spider-Man meme where they're all just kind of pointing at each other.
Yeah.
But that is where we are with this edition of Big Brother 28 live feed spoilers. So let us know What do you guys think about the veto ceremony? Devin's using his Diamond Power of Veto, D not using the bribe, and also Drew's game right now.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for your support, for joining us on YouTube memberships. We
Thank
do have
you.
that video up there about Julie Chen Moonves. Is she hurting Barrett and Mallory's game? Thank you so much for your support. We'll see you here next time.